Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Bitcoin is forming a new pattern while history is repeating for Ethereum, which I'll talk about later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the daily Bitcoin to US dollar chart, and right now the price of Bitcoin is currently forming a falling wedge pattern here on the daily chart. And now, technically speaking, a falling wedge pattern is a bullish pattern because around 2/3 of the time this type of pattern breaks out to the upside, and around 1/3 of the time this type of pattern breaks to the downside. So technically it is more likely to break out to the upside than to the downside. But with that being said, it's obviously still possible to see a break to the downside even from a bullish pattern. It's just less likely. And so essentially we need to wait for some confirmation of a break either below this support level or above this resistance level. First of all, this resistance is sitting at around 28,000 approximately, and this level of support is sitting at around 26,000. But it is worth mentioning that even if we see a breakout to the upside, obviously we do have some other levels of resistance, and the same goes for if we see a break to the downside. We have this significant area of support sitting in between around 24 to 25,000. And as for the technical price target for this pattern, if we do end up seeing a confirmed breakout above this resistance, then technically speaking the price target would be sitting at the top of the falling wedge, which is sitting at around 30,500 approximately. But once again, at least as of right now, that technical price target is not currently in play because we have not yet seen a confirmed breakout, at least as of right now. So this is just a pattern to pay attention to while it does continue to form, and everything else on the daily time frame is pretty much the same as what I said yesterday. So if you want to know more about these daily Bitcoin price oscillators, for example, then check out my last video on the channel. But anyway, now zooming into the 8-hour Bitcoin chart, and what we can see here is the price of Bitcoin basically trading between this resistance and this support in this sideways range. And obviously this is also what I talked about in my last video, saying that just in the short term I'm quite neutral, not overly bullish or overly bearish, because as of right now the price of Bitcoin once again is simply in this sideways price range again, while the momentum is very flat. But believe it or not, you can still make a lot of money in crypto quite easily in a choppy sideways price range like this, and if you want to know how to do that, then stick around to the end of this video to find out more. But first, just quickly reminding you that this area of support is sitting in between around 26.1k to 26.5k approximately, and this area of resistance is sitting in between around 27.2k to 27.6k, with this descending line of resistance sitting at around 28,000. And now if you zoom into the much shorter term, this is on the 1-hour Bitcoin chart, we can see that we did have a recent bullish divergence here on the 1-hour chart, which has resulted in the price basically taking a pause from that shorter term bearish price action, because essentially a bullish divergence means that we're due to see reduced bearish momentum. But it is important to understand that this is only on the 1-hour chart, so I don't necessarily expect this to last very long, and instead I'm still overall quite neutral in the shorter term, expecting mostly sideways price action, as I said in my last video. But obviously if we see a breakout above short-term resistance like what we saw back here at this previous bullish divergence, obviously we had some shorter-term resistance right here, and the moment we saw a breakout above that resistance, that signaled a shorter-term bullish movement. So that was a bullish signal to enter a long position, for example. So once again, if we end up seeing a confirmed breakout above some of these short-term resistance levels that I just mentioned, then that would set up more bullish price action. But at least for now, we have not yet seen that happen, which is why I'm still leaning quite neutral in the short term. But anyway, now getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily time frame, and right now the price of ETH is still trading above this area of support in between 1770 to 1820. And technically speaking, if you're looking at the daily Ethereum price oscillators, as of right now, these are still looking more bullish bullish than bearish. And so overall on the daily time frame, nothing much has changed over the last 1 day. But if you zoom into the 8-hour ETH to US dollar chart, right now the price of ETH has bounced off this area of support, sitting in between around 1830 to 1860, and is right now testing this descending line of resistance, which is sitting at approximately 1890. And now if we end up seeing a confirmed breakout above 1890 with things like candle closes above that level, then in that case I'll be watching this area of resistance next, sitting in between around 1920 to 1950, and above that we also have a bit of resistance at around $2,000. And once again, like I said in my last video on the channel, in terms of the trend and momentum in the short term, I'm still leaning quite bullish for Ethereum, because as we can see here, the price of ETH, unlike Bitcoin, did not actually break back below this area and instead flipped it into new support, which is technically a bullish signal. And obviously both the price and the RSI are forming strong higher lows and higher highs, while the MACD is showing very little bearish momentum despite the recent bearish cross. And so once again, as I've been saying over the last 1 to 2 days, this is pointing towards the trend and momentum to be a little bit more bullish rather than just neutral or bearish for Ethereum in the short term. And this could also be due to what we're seeing here on the 1-hour ETH to US dollar chart, which is a fractal currently playing out, because first of all, we have this recent bullish divergence here on the 1-hour chart, obviously lower lows in the price and higher lows in the RSI. But just recently, the 1-hour Ethereum RSI has entered into overbought territories, which has resulted in a small reset so far in the RSI and the price action, which is very similar to what we saw back here. Because obviously what we saw back here around a week ago was almost the exact same thing. We saw a bullish divergence on the 1-hour time frame, which resulted in both the price and the RSI starting to trend back to the upside until the RSI entered into overbought territories on the 1-hour time frame. And at that point, we started to see a reset in both the RSI and the price action just in the short term, until the RSI was reset all the way back down towards neutral levels, giving us some more room to the upside in the short term, where the price began its next leg to the upside. And so due to the fact that we're seeing almost the exact same thing in the short term in both the price and the RSI, it's likely that we could see a little bit of a short-term cool-off, perhaps in the coming hours, maybe over the next 1 day, like what we saw back here. But then after that, after the RSI has actually reset a little more, we could end up seeing another movement back to the upside. And so once again, this is pointing towards a little bit more bullish price action after a small reset, which is also why I'm currently leaning a little bit more bullish rather than neutral or bearish in terms of the trend and momentum in the short term once again. And now, if you want to know how to make a lot of money in crypto, no matter if the price is going to the upside, to the downside, or simply chopping around sideways in a sideways range like this, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen, because the video in the top left shows you how to make money no matter what direction the price is going using AI, and the video in the bottom left shows you how to make money in a choppy sideways price range quite easily. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.